Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Book Thief. The Book Thief is one of those books that, number one, everybody reads it, and number two, everyone declares it a classic. And to be honest, I don't think I'm going to deviate from that. I picked up The Book Thief in response to all these people saying that it was amazing, and to be honest, I was not at all disappointed by this book. So The Book Thief is set in Nazi Germany, and it's about this girl named Liesel whose brother dies, and she's sent to live with a foster family. And as she's basically living out her life, she kind of meets people and kind of begins to regain a semblance of normalcy in her life, and the war begins to affect her life. For example, they begin hiding a Jew in their basement, and bombings start to affect their life. And as the book goes on, you kind of get to see Liesel's reaction to all of this brokenness in her world. And part of that is, as you can see here, is stealing books, which is interesting because in Nazi Germany, books and words are powerful, and some of them were considered really bad. And so it's an interesting way that Marcus Zusak chose to show Liesel's, I guess, rebellion against the brokenness in her world. One thing that you'll notice right away when you pick up this book is it's narrated by Death. That might seem a little bit weird. It is a little bit weird. But I appreciated that a lot. Death was funny in like a really morbid way. Obviously, it's Death. But I thought that it was interesting since it is Nazi Germany and there's all this, I guess, death around, to just narrate it from Death's perspective. And I'm not exactly sure what it added. It definitely added something. If it had just been like just telling Liesel's story, it would have been so much drier than it was from the perspective of Death, basically from the perspective of something completely outside humanity, kind of looking in and watching all this brokenness and Liesel's reaction to it. All right, so I'm going to talk about the one thing I did not like in The Book Thief, and that is language. This book has a lot of bad words in it. So basically any bad word below the F word is in this book, plus some German swear words, just for bonus, which I do not like bad words in books. I can tolerate it if I feel like the book is worth it, but oftentimes I just feel like it's there just to, I don't know, make it seem cooler to teens. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really feel like there's purpose for a lot of bad words in books. And I guess the same I would say is true in this book. I would have preferred that it didn't have bad words in it. But I did notice as the book went on and I was kind of looking at the themes is, first the bad words added to the atmosphere. It kind of showed the character of, for example, Liesel's foster mother, and kind of gave you the first impression basically of her, which was important because later you kind of see that first impression breaking, and that's part of the theme. Even as Liesel begins to use these bad words, and everything around her is basically using these bad words, it does kind of bring out the atmosphere and the theme in showing that even though she's using all these bad words and everyone around her is using all these bad words, there's still beauty. So I did appreciate that the bad words weren't just some throwaway, books have bad words if they're for adults. I would have preferred, though, that there had been cleaner language in this book. Well, I started talking about theme. Time to continue. And this is one of the best parts of this book. As for theme, this book is stellar. So this is kind of a tragedy. It's pretty obvious from the very outset how it ends. And Death is very honestly admitting that I kind of already told you how it ends, and it's sad. And this is indeed a book that made me cry at the end, which is an accomplishment. But it was interesting as the book went on. You kind of get to see two sides of the world. So it's in Nazi Germany. You get to see the big, all the follow Hitler and loyalty to Hitler and all these Nazi Aryan ideas. Not necessarily Aryan ideas, not sure why I said that, but Nazi ideas, which are of course horrid, but that's the atmosphere in which they're growing up. And combined with all the swear words and all the poverty and pain that Liesel is kind of just growing up with and dealing with without having anything to compare it to. And as that's happening, you also get to see something else beginning to crop up. So Liesel begins to steal books. The book thief. She's the book thief. She learns to read and steals books, and they begin hiding a Jew in their basement, and Liesel begins a relationship with him, like a friend relationship, not like they were dating or anything. That would be weird. And she begins a friendship with some other kid on the street, and there's a lot of cussing involved and some thievery, which isn't good, but then there's also some goodness and some beauty which arises from that, which I loved that. That was beautiful, and it turns out that that was part of the point and the theme of this book, is that contrast of the really broken, really hard, evil parts of the world, and then the beauty that managed to come out of that. And there's this part in the book where they're painting over the words of Mein Kampf. At least I assume that's how you pronounce it. It's Hitler's book that basically said all his evil stuff. They're basically painting over the words of Mein Kampf so that they can use the paper for something new. And you could kind of see the text kind of coming out, and yet you were still plastering it down. So you can kind of see in this book, the theme is like evil tries to smother out good, but good still comes out, and good smothers out evil. There's still evil there. It's like a struggle between brokenness and beauty. And I loved how this book highlighted that even in the most broken, horrid situations, beauty is still going to find a way to straggle up, and truth is still going to find a way to straggle up. And that is one of the things that made me love this book so much. I don't really know what more to say about this book. I mean, if you go and look up reminiscences about the book thief, you're going to hear stuff about the beautiful language it uses and about the perspective of death, which was really unique. It was quite unique. It was beautiful. But yeah, I don't really know what more to say about this. This is a notch of quality above pretty much anything you're going to read, maybe excepting like classics, because this is a classic, really. It is deserving of that status. There is language in it, which is why I would not recommend this to a younger audience. If you're not okay with reading bad words, this does make you feel dirty for about a few chapters. But if you're okay with reading bad words and having to deal with that for some chapters, there is light at the end of that annoying tunnel, and it's definitely worth it. It's definitely a really beautiful book with beautiful themes that kind of show how truth has power and beauty can come up even in the most broken places. So yeah, those are my thoughts on The Book Thief. Thank you for watching. I plan to post more videos soon.